name's Dan. If I don't know you, I am senior pastor here at the church. If it's your first time in church, if it's your first time at Lifepoint, a huge welcome to you today. Every week I've been here for the past 6 months, there's been someone I've met that's been in church for the very first time in their life, or maybe the second time in their life. I know there's some of you guys right here today in church for the very first time. Can we just give a warm welcome, round of applause to everyone here who's just decided, hey, I want to find out about this whole God thing, this whole Jesus thing. We are in a relationship series today. It's actually our last week in our Healthy Relationships series. And I wanted to talk about the superpower that has changed my life when it comes to relationships. I want to talk about a relationship superpower today from the book of James, and it's called quick listening. Everyone say quick listening. You weren't quick enough, okay. We have to get quicker at listening. We're going to be in James 1 today. I still remember it was 2012, and I had a moment that changed my life when it comes to relationships. It didn't seem like much, but I was doing the dishes. I remember I was cleaning a saucepan. I still remember it to this day, cleaning a saucepan, and my lovely wife, Steph, was talking to me, as she does. And she was speaking, and I'll be honest, I was kind of tuning her out. I was kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, I got married really young, and I was a little bit older than Steph, and I kind of had this view. This is really embarrassing to admit, especially to people listening on YouTube that don't know me very well. But I kind of had this idea that I was a bit smarter than Steph, okay? I know you've met my wife and you think, why would you think that, Dan? But I kind of had this idea that I knew a little bit more about life. I was a bit older than her, and she was talking, and I was just like, yeah, you're talking, whatever. I was kind of tuning her out. And then suddenly I heard her say one thing. She said, Dan, I feel like you never listen to me. And I heard that. And I think she'd been saying it a lot for the first 5 years of our marriage. But I don't know whether it was God, whether it was just a holy moment. For some reason in that moment, I suddenly went, oh my goodness, you're right. I don't actually listen. I don't actually stop and go, hey, how's Steph going? What does she need? What is she trying to say? What's behind the words? And from then on, I went on a bit of a journey. I realized that I was very quick when Steph started talking, actually when lots of people started, my friends, my family, when they started talking, I was very quick, but I wasn't quick to listen. I was quick to, and I've got a list of here, things I'm very quick at. I was quick to dismiss. Oh, look, that's just silly. I don't know what you're talking about. That's silly. I was quick to defend. You might say that, but you're wrong, actually, and here's why. I was quick to be distracted. Smartphones had just recently come out, and I was, oh, look at this brand new thing. I'm doing something else. I was quick to diagnose the problem. Anyone here really good at diagnosing other people's problems before they've even told you properly yet? We've got some really good people here at that. I can see you right now. You're nodding at me. And I was very quick to dispense advice. Friends, I have got a lot of good things to say. Brilliant things to say. I'm doing it right now. Isn't this brilliant? Maybe not. I was quick to do those 5 things, but I was not quick to listen. Stephen Covey says, most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. Have you ever been in that moment? Someone's talking, and while they're talking, you're like, I've got a story just like that, which is more interesting because it's more about me. Can't wait to share it. How am I going to reply to this? So we're in the book of James today, and we're going to be finding out what he says when it comes to relationships, when it comes to listening. And friends, I got to tell you, this is life-transforming stuff. I know because 3 weeks ago, I had no voice. You might have been talking to me 3 weeks ago, and I was like literally talking like this. I couldn't speak. And I caught up with 2 people that week with no voice. And I thought, do I cancel? What do I do? You know what? I'll just go anyway, and I'll just sit there. So I went to 2 cafes, and I caught up with 2 people that were going through stuff. And I sat there, and I couldn't give my usual incredible wisdom. I couldn't give my amazing points. I couldn't say much at all. In fact, when they stopped talking, I just went, yeah. And just nodded, and they'd keep going. And I'd go, wow, I'm sorry to hear that. And they'd keep going. And both times at the end of it, they both said to me almost the exact same thing. They said, Dan, thank you so much for the catch-up. That's been so helpful. Thank you. And I was like, I didn't say anything. Because there's something powerful, there's something biblical about quick listening. So we're in the book of James. James was the brother of Jesus. He was actually the little brother of Jesus. Can you imagine being the little brother of Jesus? Like I've got two brothers younger than me. I'm the eldest. I feel sorry for them because I've got to live in my huge shadow. Do you know what I mean? And I'm joking, by the way. If you don't know me, you're probably thinking, this guy's so arrogant. It's a joke. And I feel sorry for them. But can you imagine actually having a perfect older brother? Like, why can't you be more like Jesus? I've got a photo of Jesus and James that was actually taken back then. Something like this. Imagine growing up like, James, why are you doing that? Jesus never did that. That'd be a tough life. And somehow, James growing up, he actually, in the end, became a leader in the church, one of the greatest leaders the church has ever had. He believed that Jesus, his own brother, was the Son of God, was the Jewish Messiah, was the one that's actually come to save us, and was God in the flesh. Does anyone else believe that about their sibling? Like James actually was convinced, and he became a leader in the church. He was known as James the Just. And he was a very powerful guy. And we've only really got one letter. We've only got one letter from James. But let me tell you, it's very serious. It's very energetic. It's very powerful, this letter. I encourage you to read it. If you're new to church, you can find it in the New Testament. Just go to the letters part or look on the table of contents and find James. I encourage you to read it. It's a bit of a confronting read, I'll tell you that. We're going to be right at the beginning in James 1. So he begins, he's writing a letter to the church. The church is around. And he talks a little bit about suffering. How when you're following Jesus, it isn't always easy. And then he gets to this, verse 19. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Therefore, get rid of all moral filth and the evil that is so prevalent. Told you it was a confronting read. And humbly accept the word planted in you, which can save you. This is God's word. Can we just highlight that? What's that phrase I want you to remember today? Quick to listen, slow to speak. Let's say that together. 1, 2, 3. Quick to listen, slow to speak. Those 6 words can and will transform your relationships. I haven't got to the bottom of the end. I am still working this out. Anyone that's spoken to me before, you know I'm not always a great listener. I'm still trying to work this out. I'm going on the journey of this life-transforming 6 words. Quick to listen. This is so important. Some people have never really been listened to their entire life. You might meet someone this week that's never really had someone look at them, give them their full attention, and really listen. David Augsburger puts it like this. Being heard is so close to being loved that for the average person, they are almost indistinguishable. See, Jesus said, his main command, you don't have to be a church person to know this, his main command is love God and love your neighbor as yourself. Love others as yourself. And what do you want? You want someone to listen to you. You want someone to look at you and understand you. You want someone to see you. And listening is the beginning of love. Some of you are like, where do I love your neighbor? Where do I start? Now, that's a really big thing. There's a lot of people around. You've got a lot of colleagues and family and friends and people in your life and literal neighbors. Where do you start this journey of loving God and loving others? Well, it starts, friends. There's a reason James put it right here in chapter 1. It starts by listening. It actually, James says in the passage, just go back to the passage, it says it's linked to anger. You know when you listen to someone, you begin to get less angry most of the time? You know often we get angry because we're misunderstanding. Has anyone had that moment before where they're driving along? I had this a few weeks ago, and someone cuts you off in traffic, and you're like, what is this loser doing? And then you see L plate, and you think he's not a loser, he's a learner. And suddenly the anger disappears. You're like, I remember. Some of you are like, no, it doesn't. For most of you, the anger disappears. You're like, hey, I remember being a learner. I remember how hard that was. I remember the stress of it all. I remember going, what am I doing? I'm sorry. When you understand, the anger gradually disappears. See, here's the thing. This is what Andy Stanley says. I love this quote. Everything everyone does, says, and believes makes sense to them. Has anyone recently been on social media and thought the world's gone mad? I've looked at something posted or something, probably AI posted it most likely these days, and gone, how could anyone think that? How could anyone believe that? That's just crazy. It's lunacy. It's dangerous. That person is evil. This is completely out of control. The reality is, though, everything everyone does actually makes sense to them. Now, it might be dangerous. It might be crazy. But it still makes sense to them. This is why listening is the beginning of loving. And Jesus even said, love your enemies. Wasn't that beautiful recently at the funeral of Charlie Kirk when his wife said, I actually forgive. I forgive my husband's killer. Isn't that incredible? The media, even the left-leaning media, and everyone was talking about it. When we seek to not paint someone as an enemy, but to start to actually love them. Where does it start? It starts in listening. Because here's the reality. Listening is not about being right. It's about making it right. James says, look back at the passage, human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. There is a type of rightness you can have that is not the rightness that God wants. Did you know that? You know this. Have you ever won an argument before but lost the relationship? Have you ever been like, I remember my first 5 years of marriage, I'm like, bam, I'm right. Look, babe, we'll just Google it. Look, Steph, see, I'm right. I won. Do you think I won? Do you think relationally I'm winning that relationship? No, you can be right, but it's not righteous. And there's a type of righteousness that God desires. And if you want the righteousness, the rightness, the shalom, the beauty that God wants for you, it starts in listening. Jesus didn't come to be right. Did you know that? He was already right. He didn't need to be more right. He was God. He came to make us right with God and with each other. He came to show us what righteousness really looks like. And actually to give us his own righteousness. To exchange his righteousness for ours. So have I convinced you is listening's important? Yeah? Can I just get a bit of a slight nod if I've convinced you? Someone's shaking their head. Okay. I'll keep working. You just keep listening. Why do we struggle to listen? This is the reality. What does James say? Why is listening so hard? Some of you are really good listeners. You're wonderful at this. I know because I've spoken to you and you look me in the eyes and you nod your head. Some of you are fantastic at this. Others, we have to struggle a little bit. We have to work on this. Why is this so hard? James gives us a really good diagnosis of why listening is so hard. He says, which is really nice. He says it's because of moral filth and prevalent evil. Got some moral filthy people here in the room today? That's what he says. He says it's sin's brokenness. There's something broken in you and me that means we don't feel safe. We don't feel okay. And when we don't feel safe and okay, we want to get distracted. We want to focus on ourselves. We want to be selfish. We want to protect ourselves. When someone else is talking, we don't want to hear it. They might be saying something that triggers us from something that happened to us a long time ago. There's this sin and brokenness inside of us that makes it so hard to listen. We jump in to protect ourselves. We just get bored. Ever had one of those people that start talking and you're like, oh, not them, why are they talking? Oh, here we go. And all of a sudden you're like, it's so hard to listen to them. Because there is selfishness in us. Listening, this is what James says, listening requires humility. He says, humbly accept the word planted in you, which can save you. Humbly accept the word planted in you, which can save you. And it's not just talking about salvation for eternity in heaven. It's also talking about it can save you right now. It can save your relationships. It can save you at work. It can save your family. It can save your marriage. Humbly accept the superpower of listening. So how do we do that? All right, I can feel you with me. So how do we do it? Before we get into that, let's just have a look at what Jesus does. When it comes to examples of the Christ man listening to people, you just got to go read a gospel. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, open one up and just highlight whenever you see him asking a question or trying to listen to someone. He does it constantly. I've just got to pick one example today, okay? This is from Luke 24. This is actually the road to Emmaus, it's called. It's when Jesus, he's just died. He predicted he was going to die, and then he came back from the dead. Literally, it's a historical fact. He actually came back from the dead. And if you predict your death and then you predict you're going to be resurrected and you actually pull it off, surely you have got the opportunity to say something. Surely you're allowed now to be like, shut up and listen to me. I just beat death. Shush. I get to speak now. You think that'd be, if anyone in the history of the universe was allowed to just speak and not listen, it would be Jesus. And yet, he's walking along, this is just after it's happened, and it goes like this. There's these two guys that were actually followers of Jesus. And they don't know he's alive yet. That same day, two of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem. They were talking with each other and about everything that happened. They were processing. We all need to do this sometimes, process what's going on. As they talked and discussed these things with each other, Jesus himself came up and walked along with them, but they were kept from recognizing him. He didn't say, shush, look at this, shush. I don't care what you're talking about. It's not important. I'm blooming here. He didn't actually do that. He asked them, what are you discussing together as you walk along? And it keeps going. They stood still, their faces downcast. One of them, named Cleopas, asked him, are you the only one visiting Jerusalem and does not know the things that have happened in these days? It's like, how dare you say that to Jesus? And what does he do? He listens again. What things? He asked. About Jesus of Nazareth, they replied. And they go and tell him about him. And he sits there, or he walks there, and listens. He actually seeks to understand their perspective. He asks two clarifying questions to see where they're coming from. I don't think I'd be able to do that. I'd be like, bros, just be quiet, please. I have got something to say. And he actually does later on. He opens up scriptures and explains the truth and he declares the truth and he reveals who he is. He does all of that. He's not quick to do that. He's quick to listen and he's slow to speak. He's quick to listen, slow to speak. And I reckon Jesus was like that his entire life. I reckon that's why where James got it. Why is his little brother saying this to people? He's saying, I know this is what Christ is like. This is what love looks like. Quick to listen, slow to speak. So I gave you the 5 default Ds, the dangerous things that we do, that we're very quick on. Quick to dismiss, defend, distract, diagnose, dispense advice. Which one do you go to normally? Not you, not your spouse. I can see someone elbowing. Which one do you go to? Let's try the 3 S's of listening. And I'm getting this from James and Jesus himself. How do we put this superpower of quick listening in place? There's 3 steps. The first thing we need to do, and I've been doing this 3 steps for years, and I can tell you it works. The first thing you have to do when someone starts talking to you is to stop what you are doing. Who here is really good at multitasking? Put your hand up. A few of you? Yep. Stop it. You can't listen and multitask, okay? Stop what you are doing. Give the person your full attention. Stop talking. Don't do this. Do this. Zip it and listen. Jesus was constantly being interrupted. Some of you guys think you're busy, and I understand. You're very important people here. You've got lots to do. You're very busy. You've got so much going on. I understand it. Do you think you're more busy than Jesus, though? No, you're not. No matter how busy you are. He was saving the world in 3 years, okay? And yet he was constantly interrupted. People would yell out to him, and his disciples are like, shush, just don't. We're on a mission here. Be quiet. And he'd stop. Hang on, stop. And some of you are so task-driven, you hate doing this. But this is the task of love. Stop. Give your full attention and listen. Dallas Willard says, the first act of love is always the giving of attention. Henry Nouwen once wrote, listening is paying full attention to others and welcoming them into our very beings. True listening is a form of spiritual hospitality. Okay, you with me? Number 1, stop what you're doing. Number 2, this is really important. Some of you are not very good at this. Show that you are listening. Okay? Give a sign that you actually are listening. Here's an easy one to do. Ready? You don't have to say anything. Sometimes being completely silent and just going. That's actually not listening. It's really off-putting and weird. Like your brain could be anywhere if you're doing that. Like actually, some of you are really good at this. Really? Did it? That's awesome. Or that's so awful. That's like show you're listening. Some of you are counselors here in the room or social workers. I know if you understand this. Sometimes there's this thing you reflect back what someone said. So you're just super stressed. So you're saying you're loving your job. Like just show that you are actually with them. Henry Nouwen again. When we really listen, we offer our hearts rather than our advice. Some of the really smart people here in the room, you find this the hardest because someone starts talking and you already know what to do. Like, oh, that's easy. You just do this. Can I just say, blokes in general, I know this isn't all blokes. Some ladies do this too, but blokes in general, you are really bad at listening, okay? Making a giant just statement. We are problem solvers by nature, which is a beautiful thing. God made us to lead and to create and to create solutions and to fix things and to be task-driven. But guess what? This task has been given to us by 2 blokes, Jesus and James. This is not ladies' business, okay? Not just ladies' business. This is for the men as well. Show that you're actually listening. Don't give advice, just listen. Which is really hard when you think, yeah, but if you just... And lastly, and I think this is the hardest, this is the least intuitive, is to not just stop there, but to seek more understanding. We see this is what Jesus did on the road to Emmaus. He did this constantly. Actually, when they're finished talking, don't just say your bit then, but actually try and go deeper. Try and understand the person behind the problem, the person behind the statement. You know how Jesus are walking along and he's like, tell me about what's going on. And they said, well, Jesus is dead. Perfect time to say, no, he's not, y'all, I'm right here. Perfect opportunity. But he didn't. Because he wanted to find out more about his friends, Cleopas and his mate. He's like, yeah, but what's been going on, guys? Tell me more about that. Seek more understanding. Be curious. Stephen Covey again. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. People are coming to Jesus constantly like this. You know, the disciples one day walked up to him and they're like, hey, Jesus, everyone's saying that you're the new Elijah. Is that right? That's an opportunity to speak the truth. And he says, well, who do you say I am? What do you guys reckon? I want to find out more about you, not just tell you the truth. And he tells a lot of truth. He does a whole Sermon on the Mount. There's a lot of truth coming out, but he was slow to speak and he was quick to listen. I remember that time Jesus is talking to a blind man and the blind man yells out, Jesus! And Jesus comes over and he says, what do you want? The blind man's like, I want to see. But Jesus, he wants to listen first. He's not going to assume, I know what your problem is. I've already diagnosed your problem before I'm even here. I'm good at diagnosing problems before I've even Steph's even opened her mouth. Seek more understanding. So that's the 3. I want you to try this out this week, okay? If you're not a great listener, try it once this week. Just once. Stop, show, and seek. It might take longer than you would like because you're very busy people, I know. You've got things to do. But just try this out this week. Let me give you a few examples, okay? I don't usually get this practical, but let me give you a few role-playing examples, all right? Here's a little scene. That's actually things that have happened to me recently where I either got it right or not got it right. And you can decide. Okay, let's try the default setting. There's three scenes. First is with Steph. Next one's with Harmony, my daughter. And then last one's with a friend of mine, okay? First one was Steph, okay? Kids are going crazy. House is a mess. I'm watching NRL. Good scenario. Steph comes in. Why can't you help me clean the house? And I say, I did help you clean the house. I cleaned the kitchen this morning. Boom. Right. Problem solved. Done. I win. Right? Yeah? Facts. I smashed it. Dan won. Scene 2. Harmony, my little 10-year-old daughter. Dad, I don't want to go back to school after holidays. Well, sweetie, tough luck. We'll have to do things that are hard. Bam. Facts. It's true. That's actually a really good truth you have to hear. We do have to do hard things, isn't it? Bam. Facts. Smashed it again. I'm 2 from 2. Me with a friend. Hey, mate, how you going? My mate. Oh, Dan, to be honest, it's been a bit of a rough week. Me. Oh, mate, same. My week's been rough too. That's an Aussie bloke conversation, isn't it? Boom. Conversation over. How about the Lions, though? Moved on straight away. Seriously, though, how about the Lions? That was cool. But, how did I go? 3 conversations, all over in 6 seconds. So efficient, truth dispensed, done. Quick to speak. Let's try these again, okay? Let's try these again with the 3 S's. I want you to think about your own life here. What does this look like? Okay? Steph comes in. Can you please help me clean? What would I say? Stop. Okay, first things first, pause NRL. You can do that these days, okay? KO gets paused or even turned off. That's even better listening. It's a black screen now. Turn to look at her. It sounds like you're really overwhelmed. What can I do? How you going? What's going on? Are you okay? What's going on? I'm showing you I'm listening. She says it. I say, that sounds really hard. I'm listening. I seek more understanding. Do you feel like I'm not helping? Do you feel like I'm not being helpful? I'm asking questions. I'm trying to get, what's happening behind this situation? Harmony. Dad, I don't want to go back to school after holidays. We all feel that, don't we? Stop. For a kid, it's like usually get down on one knee, okay? Depends how old the kid is. For me, I don't usually have to worry. But for a young kid, I've got to get down on one knee. Look him in the eye. Look Harmony right in the eye. Sweetie, that's awful. How are you feeling about it? Yeah. Show I'm actually listening. Yeah. I'm so sorry. That sounds really, that's awful. Seek more understanding. Is there something in particular that's worrying you about going back to school, Harmony? And you think, as a parent, I've got to solve this. I've got to fix this for Harmony. But I tried that. I literally tried it last night. I got on her level. I didn't give any advice. I didn't solve the problem. And I just went, is there anything in particular you're worried about? And she said something, and I was like, oh. And then I said, what can you do about that? And she said, well, it's not that bad really because I get to see my friends. Thanks, Dad. Smiled and walked off. I didn't say anything. My mate, hey man, how you going? Oh mate, I've had a rough week. Man, I'm so sorry. What's going on, mate? Mate, tell me about that. What's happening, bro? Show I'm listening. Seek more understanding. Mate, is this often happened for you? Has it been tough for a while? What's the toughest thing you're going through right now, man? What do you need? I know you guys aren't stupid. You can work this out. There's just 3 examples of what this could look like. Stop, show, seek. Friends, I know this seems simple. Some of you are like, Dan, this is like 101 stuff. But let me tell you, I promise you, you haven't got to the bottom of this. This is what love looks like in action. And I'm not saying you don't say the truth. And I'm not saying you don't sometimes give really wise, good advice. But you do that very slowly. Because what does James say? What does James, the brother of Jesus, say? Everyone should be, let's say it together, quick to listen, slow to speak. I've been working on this for a while. I've actually made a wristband for myself. Okay, if you're not a natural listener like me, you might need a reminder every now and then. I've literally got this written on my wrist. Quick to listen. That's the quick thing to do. Slow to speak. Guys, this is what our world needs. Out of anything our world needs right now, it's people who are quick to listen. Can you imagine if that's what the church was known for? Is our love and our listening. Can you imagine if someone in your workplace found out that you were a Christian, a Jesus follower? I went, oh, you're a Christian. Good. You're a listener. You're someone I can go and speak to. You're someone who will actually give me their attention, not their judgment. You're someone who will sit and you'll listen. And you might speak, but you'll be very slow to speak. And you'll be quick to listen. Imagine if that's what Lifepoint was known for. The listening church. Friends, you're going to meet some people this week, as I said, that have never had anyone listen to them. And it's your opportunity to be Jesus. To be just like Christ was for us. You know, he didn't come, as I said, he didn't come to be right. He came actually to listen. Do you know he came as a baby? Do you know what babies are really bad at? Talking. He came and he couldn't, for the first few years, he couldn't even say anything. This is God himself. He came quietly. And the beautiful thing about the gospel of Jesus Christ is that today God is listening to you. God is leaning in right now. You think, all right, I've got to be a better listener. And God has come and say, hey, let me show you what it means to be there for you. You woke up this morning, God was already watching you. He watched you sleep. He's ready to speak to you. He's ready to listen to you. He's been listening to your heart, to your joy, to your sadness all day today. Let's come to him, hey?
Hey guys, thanks for watching. We really hope you enjoyed that. 2 quick things before we go, okay? 1, we'd love to connect with you. Go to our website, lifepoint.org.au, hit connect and just give us your details. Someone from our church will be in contact with you. And the second thing is, if you live in the area, around the kind of Moreton Bay or North Brisbane, come along to a service, 8:30, 10 o'clock and 5 p.m. We'd absolutely love to see you here on a Sunday.